Thank you for joining us for Pet Connect. I'm Tara Douglas. We're going to talk about the Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill today and also our upcoming spay and neuter voucher sale. So I've asked our current president of the Feral Dogs of Avondale, Terri Brooks, to come on the show with me today. So Terri, thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
We are having these spay and neuter voucher sales once a quarter at the moment.
Yep, we are.
And so we've got more opportunities for people to get their dogs and cats fixed here in this area.
Yes.
But we always have a lot of questions. So I wanted you to kind of share what the whole process is, what's going to happen. This coming Saturday, so on the 14th at PetSense. Let's talk about what everyone needs to know about this upcoming voucher sale.
So we'll start at 9 o'clock at PetSense Sylacauga. Please do not call PetSense Sylacauga. They don't have anything to do with it or the shelter. This is through us. You can message us on our Facebook page, but you have to show up to get the voucher. It's going to start at 9 o'clock to 11 till we run out. We bought 240 vouchers to sell this time, basically loaded up on the female cats and the female dogs to sell. A lot of people will get in line starting at 7:30, 8 o'clock. Usually everybody who is in line at 9 o'clock when we get there pretty much get a voucher. We don't run out. They're only good at Alabama Spay and Neuter Clinic in Irondale. We get that question a lot. They're not good at your local vet. This is how we get them low cost, because they're a low cost clinic. And the other thing is you do have to have a rabies certificate. It's a state law. So you can either show proof or you can purchase from them. There's other fees that may apply. It's $10 if you want to ride the transport van, from the Home Depot. It runs once a month. So when you call and make your appointment, you let them know that you want to be on it or you want to take yourself. From my understanding recently, it's never been full for the next month. There's probably still slots in July, so we'll let everybody know that when they get their certificate to go ahead and make your appointment and get it. I think I've covered everything.
Yeah. So Saturday morning,
yes.
there is always a long line there at PetSense even when we get there to set up for feral dogs.
Yep, at 8:30.
So but it goes pretty fast.
Yes.
So I have had people come up and they see that line, they're like, ugh, I don't want to have to wait for this, but it's so important. I mean, that's such a good opportunity and a good deal that it doesn't take that long to go through that line.
Usually we get through that huge line within an hour. Usually it's an hour, everybody's in and out, and then we start having the stragglers come in kind of after that.
And so they'll take that voucher. Now the person, once they buy the voucher, they have to call Alabama Spay and Neuter to make the appointment.
Correct.
Of course.
Correct.
And so you will have to take that step. And you can take your own pet to Alabama Spay and Neuter. You don't have to use the transport, but that transport makes it so easy for me.
It does. You and I have both had to use it recently for fosters, and we just left them in the hard crate. They just lifted it into the truck and they picked them up the next day.
They zoom off to Irondale and then they're returned. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that, because people also wonder how can they get them there. So that transport is at Home Depot parking lot.
Correct.
Now what time typically do people have to be able to be there to drop off their animal?
You should be there at least by 6 o'clock. Some people will start getting there about 5:30. The vans have always been there when I've been there. They have 2 vans, so I'm not sure how many animals. I would guess they're getting 60 or more on the van, there, and just get in the car line, and they'll give you the paperwork, and then you go to at a stop at a little checkpoint, and then you go to the van and you wait in line and get them loaded.
And then they return them the next day.
Correct.
So then you'll have to go back to Home Depot it's mid-morning when they get there.
Around 11.
And so
at least by 11.
And so you got to be able to get your pet there that morning of Monday morning, and then be able to go back and pick up your pet mid-morning on Tuesday.
And if you don't, from my understanding, they will take your pet back to Alabama Spay and Neuter in Birmingham.
Okay.
So you have to be there. They're not going to leave it at some other location. They're not going to leave it at the shelter for you to pick up when you have time. They will take it back. The shelter will not accept your pet coming into the shelter because they're completely full, and it's not, it's not their animal.
And another thing with the Alabama Spay and Neuter Transport is that they are a well-oiled machine.
Yes.
They are. It's quick. I mean, you get in that line, and again, there's another line. Like when you buy your vouchers, you think, oh, I don't want to wait in this line. But it goes really fast because they've got all that paperwork ready. They know exactly what to do.
Yep.
And
it absolutely does. Yeah.
but as Terry said, if you have your you've got to have that rabies certificate to show them, or you can pay an extra fee to have them do the rabies there.
And I think it's $30 now.
Okay, so if you've got that rabies certificate, definitely have it with you so you can save that $30. But let's talk about, because we've been able to hold these, and now we provide those vouchers year-round. So let's talk about year-round, where they are, and then the fact that we're able to reduce that price for this voucher sale.
They are at regular price. I can't remember all of them right now, but just for a female dog, it's $77 now at Mutt Cuts year-round. We keep them stocked there if you can't make the event. Obviously, at the event, there's a big difference between $30 and $77. You know, you're going to save $47 by coming to the event and purchasing them. Now, the reason we can have all of these extra events, because just 2 years ago, we only had one that year because we were having to raise our own funds. But Talladega County Commissioners voted unanimously, all 5 of them, to give us money for the past 2 years, and we take that money and send it back to the community for the low-cost vouchers. So we pay with that money the extra $47 for a female dog, you know, so that we can sell it to you, because we're still paying $77 to Alabama Spay and Neuter for the voucher.
And I think that's important for people to know that we've been able to get those funds or raise those funds over the years to have that spay and neuter voucher sale to provide that big discount to the community.
Right.
And
also this past year too, the Sylacauga City Commissioners gave us money, $6,000 to go to that program too, because I think they're finally seeing a need to reduce the pet population, you know, because stray animals in here can cause accidents. You know, they can attack people, which we've seen several things with that. So the less of these animals being dumped or just somebody releasing them into communities, then the better off the community is, you know?
Absolutely. And we really appreciate the support of the Talladega County Commissioners and the City of Sylacauga, where the City Council agreed to give us some money too. So, you know, that was that's a big deal. And I think more people are realizing what kind of problem we have. And so that's why it's so important, if you see information about our spay and neuter voucher event, to share it on Facebook, to tell your neighbors, tell your friends, then let us know at Feral Dogs so that we can figure out a way to keep this spay and neuter, because you've been a part of Feral Dogs for quite some time
8 years
now.
now. We've been a 501c3 nonprofit for 8 years now.
And that has been the basis of everything that Feral Dogs does to really try to reduce the number of dogs and cats.
It is
in
what
this
I call
area.
one of our tiers to it, you know, helping the animals in the community, the people in the community, you know, with finding homes, you know, as part of it. But this is definitely a main part of it too.
And I can only imagine, do you have on the top of your head how many spay and neuter vouchers have been sold through Feral Dogs over the years?
I know I did them, I guess a while ago, but I think it was hitting 8,000 at this point.
And then if you think about how many spay and neuter vouchers that Feral Dogs has sold, and then over the last 8 years, aren't we close to 10,000 dogs that have left this area to go to other states? So
yes.
think about that. That is a lot of animals that are no longer roaming the streets of Sylacauga. So I know that we look at the streets and think, oh my gosh, there's still so many dogs and cats out there, and then there's room for improvement there. But I can only imagine what it would have been like if Feral Dogs had not been in existence as an organization 8 years ago to start trying to help fix this problem.
You know, and another thing is we do have our TNR program, which is fantastic. So if you know of a colony, help reduce unwanted kittens, all these kittens that are born into these communities, you know, a lot of them end up dying. They're sick. Or if you have a neighborhood dog that keeps having litter after litter, but you don't mind keeping the neighborhood dog, you just want to stop the puppies, you know, and having to find homes, we have another program for that too. Contact us. We will help get the community dog, which I like to call it, fixed in the neighborhood so there's no more puppies. You know, we try to help in a lot of different ways, just besides the voucher program, to reduce the pet population.
And in order to do some of that, we need fosters. So let's talk
Take-
about the now. Terri has fostered. How many hundreds of puppies have you fostered?
I used to keep a count. I haven't, but it's probably hitting 900 at this point for the past 8 years.
And it's unbelievable how Terri's able to keep up
I have
with all
7
that.
now. Just took in yesterday.
And so let's talk about, first of all, the foster system. What happens with fosters and what has to happen in order for us to have a successful foster system?
So we get contacted quite a bit about, hey, I have this litter of puppies. And you know, the first question is always, is this a stray that was dumped, you know, stray puppies that were dumped, or is it yours? Because we have, you know, we try to help the strays first, but if it's yours, then we'll try to come up with a plan to assist if we can, if we have open fosters. We have to have open fosters. And the other thing, because adoptions all around the country, you know, we used to could send them to all these different places and they would be adopted quickly. All of that slowed down too. So we have to make sure we have a secure rescue that says, oh yeah, I'd love to have those puppies. I'll take those puppies. Then at that point we can see, well, do we have an open foster? Let's, you know, move them to the foster. And we provide all the supplies. You'll want a safe place for the puppies. You'll want them kind of quarantined because you want to make sure they don't come into contact where they could get parvo. I'm sure a lot of you know about parvo, how deadly it is. And they keep them for around 3 to 4 weeks, the foster, you know, make sure they're healthy, you know, there's no issues, they're not lethargic, that, you know, their poop looks good. You know, we use that word a lot. What does the poop look like? And, you know, and then we can send them on to rescue once they're vaccinated, you know, have enough vaccinations.
So number one, we have to have the fosters available.
Right.
But number two, we have to have the rescues in other states that are available to
can
take
commit.
them, because we don't have a facility. We're not the shelter.
Right.
We help support the shelter, but we are a standalone nonprofit. So we don't have a facility other than our fosters' homes.
For dogs and puppies, we do not do local adoptions. We've done a few in the past when we just couldn't move them to rescue, but that's just not something that, you know, we have the time for with all our other programs to do, because if we did, we'd have to fully vet the person, you know, basically, what does your home look like, you know, give me references, give me personal references. It's a lot of work to make sure anything that comes from our program would have a great home, and we just don't, like I said, have the time.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
We all have full-time jobs, believe it or not. I think some people call and like, hey, you know, can you help? I'm working now. I will get back to you, you know, later in the day.
And with that, when people call and people message us, please be patient, because we only have the resources we have. We can't take every single dog or every single puppy, and we typically can't do anything with adult dogs through the Feral Dogs organization. But we can sometimes help with puppies, but not all of the time. So people have to be patient and understand that if we got all the spay and neuter vouchers and we have people spaying and neutering, then we won't be in that situation in the first place. But we do help as much as we can.
Right.
And we'll have these puppies leave out of here in planes, and we'll have them leave in
Vans.
Now we've got, speaking of us not having facility, we've got the shelter, and Terri does a beautiful job taking pictures of dogs at the shelter. So we've got this pup right there that's at the shelter right now. Tell us a little bit about what Bush's personality was like when you were there visiting him.
You know, he still got a little puppy energy, not crazy puppy energy. He seemed to love people. And from my understanding also from the shelter, he is good with other dogs. He's just a gorgeous. I posted him on my page. It's like, what breed do you think he is? They had him as a lab mix, but there's definitely...
He's got lots.
He had some other things in there. He's got a little, you know, kind of medium, a little longer hair.
He's so unique looking.
He is. He's got a beautiful tail. You know, he's a little fuzzy, so maybe a little collie in there. But then he's got brindle, and so, but just a sweet, sweet boy.
And now this one?
Wilbur, he is a doll. This is another one I go, well, what do we think he is? They had him listed as, you know, Rottweiler and Shepherd, but, you know.
Yeah, who knows? He might have a little Bernese Mountain Dog in him or something.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. Because he's a big boy. He's 80 pounds and just a sweetheart. He came in as a stray with a little bit of an ear infection, but just a sweet, lovable. Both of these are just wonderful dogs. So if you're looking for big dogs, both are big dogs.
And Tatiana's big too.
Yep, Tatiana, yes, she is a Pyrenees. So she needs a good area to run
She
around
needs
in,
land.
a farm. Yeah, but I mean, really, all three of these dogs, because
Yeah.
they're big dogs, need some area to roam. They're all, 2 to 3 years old, so
Okay.
they still, got a good bit of life and
Yeah.
energy left in them. They're not going to be couch potatoes at this point.
Now here's a success story for this big dog, because you shared this picture and all of our volunteers shared it, and hopefully we had more shares on Facebook.
Yep.
Somebody saw this pup and decided to adopt.
Yep, Danny to the Dane. Yep. They saw him, and obviously there's certain people that just love Danes. I got contacted from other people too, and it's like, I think he's got an adopter, but just a sweet boy. And I'm friends with the person who adopted him, and there's just
Okay.
pictures of him
that's
just
great.
laying, kind of on the couch.
That always
and
makes you
everywhere.
feel wonderful to see
it
that.
does. It does. Yeah.
And then we've got your two. These are your fosters right
Yep.
now. These were the dogs that came from the woods in Wagufka.
Yep.
But
This is little Ash. She was, as you said, one of the woods pup. Basically, 14 were abandoned in the woods in the middle of nowhere, and luckily somebody saw them and contacted us. The 9 puppies in one of the little dogs already went to New York to get adopted. You have 2 of them, and I have 2 of them. And this is Ash, the female, and this little boy is Aspen. And so he's just a character there. You can
They are
see
so
they're
cute.
both so loving and sweet. And little things, believe it or not. That may not look like he's little, but
they are little.
They're both
yeah.
like, I think he's like 27 pounds,
Yeah.
and she's 25 pounds. She's just a little pocket pitty, just cute as she can be.
Well, we appreciate everything that you do, Terry, and we appreciate the community for all of our support.
Yep.
And please come out and get a voucher this weekend if you need it. We're going to be at Pet Sense from 9 o'clock until we run out. But come on down, get your $30 voucher, and that's good for dog or cat, male or female.
Right.
And go out to the shelter, meet those dogs that Terry's been posting. And if you see posts, please share them, because that's the way we can find homes like we did for Danny the Dane. But thank you, Terry, again
Oh,
for
you're
coming on
welcome.
the show.
Thank you for having me.
Come out to the shelter this weekend to walk dogs also after you come and get your vouchers. And we'll have more Daybreak after these messages. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.